I was going to go easy on you, not to hurt your feelings.
You f***ing irritate the shit out of me.
I'm only going to get this one chance. It's just a feeling I've got. Like something's about to happen, but I don't know what.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something.
All right, hey, what's going on, peeps? Welcome to another episode of Keenan Live. How you doing, folks? You know how this works. If you have a product or service that I need and you can find a problem, I'll buy it. But if not, these folks have to let me critique their selling ability. So today we've got Lou Mahid, and I hope I said that right. Let me bring him in here. Let me bring in good old Lou. He'll tell me if I got his name right or wrong once I get him here live. See what we got. And Lou should be live. What's up, Lou? Did I get your name right? Mahid?
Majid, exactly how it's written. Close, God. Man. Close.
Damn, I tried to give it some respect. I apologize, Money.
No worries. Thank you for letting me on today.
I got you for sure.
Yeah, appreciate it. I wish I would have done some push-ups, man. My arms look really weak on this video call right now.
Hey, look, you're not here for your arms or for your chest. You're here for your mind.
There you go.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you
got it. So
okay. Cool. So we can get started if that's okay with you.
You're in. You are on. It's your time.
Cool.
I'm listening. Let's see what you got.
Cool. So this is a bit of a unique position or proposition, Keenan, because for one, I hit you up right before this whole pandemic kind of went underway.
Yep.
So things have changed dramatically, and I'm kind of talking to you today in from the frame of things eventually going back to normal.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? Is that okay with you?
It's your gig, right? Have you read Gap Selling?
I skimmed it, to be totally
honest. You're a fool. You're a fool, Majid, but I'll see what you do here. Because let's see what – I can't believe no one's commented yet. The last time someone skimmed it, they got their ass handed to them. Not that I don't love you. I love you, but let's see what you got.
Sure. No, I'm expecting to get yelled at. That's fine. The Keenan yell. Let's do it, man.
All right.
Okay, cool. So I understand your main source of revenue is training, then consulting, then recruiting in that order. That's what I've gained from you. I've skimmed through your book, but I've watched a few of your live yelling sessions. I joke. Training.
It's all good. No, I can own it. I'll own it.
Cool. Now, would that be accurate?
Yeah.
The order of revenue. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me kind of what you see in terms of growth for your business in the next 1, 3, 5 years? We're going to assume things go back to normal, by the way.
Okay, 5 years, I'm not touching 5 years. In 3 years, I'm really not touching. Look, okay. we had a growth goal of 60% for 2020. And right now, we don't know where to go with that. So we lowered it to, I think, just stay zero growth to us is a win this year. If we can do what we did last year, that's a win.
Sure. Tell me about the focus. Let's assume things were going normally, 60% growth or any kind of growth really for the year. What percentage of that is, what's the percentage of that comes from each vertical in terms of your push or initiative in growing? So
our focus in growth is coming from primarily the training. And that's going to be either we'll call live training, either virtually live training, or we'll say live training in person. And the other portion of that's coming from the online training, which is like a LMS. People go online and can do it at their own pace.
Got it. So when business is running normally, right? Sorry to keep reiterating that because I know you're going to yell at me eventually and say, "Whoa! What about now? What about now? What's happening now?" So I get it's different now, but when business is kind of eventually when things go back to normal, what is your recruiting process, sales process like? How does that work? How much stock do you even put in it? Is it really just kind of something you have there because it makes sense, or are you making revenue?
No, recruiting is not a huge emphasis for us. I don't even know how much longer we're going to continue to do it. When I started that division 5 years ago, I think. Look, the economy was upswinging, and basically what I felt was I was losing money because I was doing a lot more consulting. We didn't have the training piece yet. I was doing tons of consulting, and I had, I had customers who were like, or clients, and I'd be like, okay, we need to hire an SVP of sales. We need to do this. We need to do that, and we need to grow. And then go out and they'd hire someone else. And I was like, well, that's stupid. But I'm sitting in here. They can go use my people, right? So I told them. So I built that division so that I could just, not watch money go out the door. Well, we're growing faster, and obviously there's not much room or need for a whole lot of recruiting, and so we do it, but it's not something we put a lot of effort or time into.
Got it. Okay. And what's your kind of sentiment on your? I mean, you kind of answered this, but I'm just trying to reframing the question. What's your sentiment on the recruiting function and bringing in revenue for that, or in that vertical? I mean, is it something that interests you? Is it really kind of just back burner for you? Where
I mean, right now, recruiting is the last thing on our radar. We're investing almost zero money into recruiting right now, and that was the case before all this happened, right? Cool. We just had much. We don't have a massive differentiator from recruiting, right? We have our brand, and we can leverage our brand. We have our client base, we can leverage our client base. But at the end of the day, we don't that's not our core competency, and we don't have a massive difference in recruiting from a recruiting perspective. We have a massive differentiator from a training perspective, from the book perspective, from a consulting perspective. So again, we did it, but it wasn't where we were putting our resources. It wasn't where we were investing to try to grow, at least not now.
Got it. Who was doing the recruiting when things do open up? Was it your partner, Connie? Your colleague?
No, I have a Brady, but no. The recruiting was done by an internal recruiter we have. And then my salesperson would sell it. So if she got a lead or someone called into us or we had something with one of our clients, I'd send them over to her. She would close them, and she'd send the job openings to one of our internal recruiters.
So your salesperson would get a lead through either internally through your marketing?
An inbound lead or a lead from an existing client that I would send over to her.
Got it. And then she'd feed it to Brady, you said? Sorry?
No, she would send that to Rachel.
Got it.
Or I would send that to Rachel, and then Rachel would send it to our internal recruiter.
Got it. And then the internal recruiter would take care of it. And
so let me ask you a question. Here. I got to butt in, okay?
Sure.
Why are you asking me recruiting process questions right now?
Because I'm trying. Well, I don't want to get to the sale yet, but
So what should you be trying to do?
I'm trying to get you to buy into the idea that we want to make you more money from something that's kind of floating there in your business, but it's not something you're focused on without you putting too much focus in it. So not as much work, but more money.
So then what problem are you trying to find?
I'm trying to find the. Right now I'm trying to lean towards what about the idea of making more money. So not as much as a
How do you define more? How do you define? Well, wait. See, this is the first problem when you said not trying to find a problem that you missed from skimming Gap Selling. What is the number one message I deliver throughout the entire book of Gap Selling?
Look for a problem.
Yes, and what is the phrase? Anybody listen? I'm watching you guys here. What is the phrase that I use about Gap Selling when it comes to a problem? Anybody see if anybody puts it in? What is it?
Painful.
Anybody? Know what? Know what?
Challenge?
Know what? Know what? What does he put? Know what? Know what? Who's listening? Who's going to get it? It takes us a little bit of delay.
No worries.
See if anybody puts it in.
Yeah. I apologize, by the way, for not.
Don't apologize to me, right? Okay, Alan said no problem, no sale. That is absolutely correct. Or no gap, no sale. And you can't find the gap until you find the problem, right? full on current state, full on future state, right? So you can't try to get me to buy into anything or get me to see something if I don't have a problem. Way to go, Jim. No gap, no sale. I'll go with no problem, no sale, right?
Sure.
So
go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what problem are you trying to find?
Problem I'm trying to find is your lack of focus or initiative on a potentially big time revenue generating business for your business.
So then try to find that problem. So what question could you ask about my current state that could help you on a path to find a problem based on what you want to do right now? You think go.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
So you think that there's a huge revenue opportunity that I'm missing?
Yes.
So you need to start asking questions to get me to see that. Go.
Sure. What would you change about your recruiting function?
Nothing.
Okay. How would you make it better, though? If you could focus more on it, how would you make it better? In other words, how would you
focus more on it? I don't think the money's there.
Got it. Good to know. That is what kind of actually no, sorry, that's more process oriented. So this is where I get now. I've identified, Keenan. Well, at least I think I have. You can tell me. I've identified that there is no focus on it, but it's something that's marketed, right? You have it on the website. It's not something that you're going to shy away from. Maybe if they give you an opportunity, if a client gives you an opportunity to recruit for a role. I can tell you that it can be quite lucrative, right? It's a standard kind of percentage.
Telling me, I've had it for at least 5 or 6 years, and you're going to start telling me it can be lucrative. I don't know if that's going to help you out.
Well,
see, here's what you're missing. Okay, it doesn't matter what you think. You've got to get me thinking differently. How can you ask questions to get me to think about it differently?
Okay, I got one. I got you right now. How much more do you think you can make in revenue, Keenan, if you were to start placing on average 1 to 2?
Dude, I know the answer to that. And that's what's called self-diagnosis. And to think as a business owner, I haven't considered that yet is crazy. So it blows my mind how many of these I do and how many times salespeople still come in with self-diagnosis. How many do you think I could make more? Don't ask me to self-diagnose. Don't say, hey, as a doctor, hey, if I give you this pill, how much longer do you think you could live? I don't fucking know. You're the doctor. So you've got to get me to take a step back, get into my current state and see what you think you see. What questions could you ask me because you think there's mad money to be made there. You do. So what questions can you ask to get me to see what you see?
How much more money do you want to make?
That's no future state. Dude, you sound like a multi-level marketing person, right? Like multi-level marketing. Hey, how much more money, how much better do you think your life could be if you could make an extra $2,000 a month free on your free time? That literally, right? Like those are the types of questions you're asking right now, right? And you can't do that. You've got to get into my current state. I'm going to give you a hint, right? I'm going to give you a hint because I dropped it on you earlier and you missed it. And by the way, sorry, you're going to have to be the one that has to take this, Lou, but I love you, baby.
Dude, it's cool. It's cool.
Listen, if you are sitting right now, if you are watching this video a week from now or 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, and you're about to come on this show and you haven't read the fucking book, learn because your ass is going to get handed to you. Lou's the second person to do this, and they're just floundering like a fish on deck after being yanked up. So here's the deal, my man. I shared with you earlier. I said, we're not focusing on it. I said, we only do it and hold on to it because we have customers we can throw them stuff to. Okay? Those are 2 hints. Start asking current state questions to dig in to figure out where I am, where my head is, and find whether you might be able to get me to change my thinking.
What would it take, or what would be the catalyst
You're asking me to self-diagnose again. You're doing it again. Every time you say, what would it take? What would you need? Where would you be? What could you do? That's all self-diagnosis. So I'm going to, in the interest of time, I've given you 3 chances. Strike, you're out. Okay. Here's the type of question you wanted to ask. Keenan, tell me a little more about why you're not focusing on recruiting. Now, I kind of gave you an answer. I said, we really don't have a major competitive differentiator. So I really don't think we compete really well. We have tons of other things that make a lot more money that we think we have a much higher upside for, as in training, as in virtual training, which we just launched, within the Gap Selling online learning management system, which comes out in, 2 weeks. Brady, is that still right? 2 weeks, week and a half, right? So that's where we're spending our money. And then if you still felt that way, say, okay, even though recruiting is number 3 in your list of things, what percentage of your overall income is recruiting? And I might say, I'll give you an answer, say about 10%. 10%. And you might say, okay, why have you not spent or invested, current state, more money into that to make her a higher percentage? My answer then would have been for you, again, similar. I said basically because I believe we have a much higher upside and a competitive differentiator. So when I sit down, I look at my businesses and where I want to spend my money, I believe we have a greater opportunity to drive more revenue, get more market share, and grow faster by competing on Gap Selling behind me here, the Gap Selling training and the Gap Selling virtual training and the Gap Selling online training, because it is so different in the marketplace, because our book just won or came in second place in the best sales book of all time. We have tremendous momentum there, rather than investing and trying to compete in a commodity space like recruiting when it's not our core competency. Then you might ask, okay, great. That makes sense. Then why do you even keep it in the first place? And then I might come back with, that's a question I've been asking for a while, and I'm not sure how much longer we're going to keep it. However, the main reason I've kept it is at 10%, that's kind of free money. We don't have to, we're not investing in it. We have no overhead or very little overhead with it. And so it just makes sense to hold on to, so that when we have clients who want to be hired, when we're hiring, et cetera, we can just throw them that way, make a little extra money, and provide better value to our customers. Then
thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, so with all of that information I dumped on you, now where do you go? You can run with it from there. So those are the questions you should, by the way, do you see the value in those fucking questions?
Yes.
That's the current state. You need to get that shit out. Okay, so there it is. Now where do you go?
How do you feel about the idea of investing a little bit more on...
I already gave you that answer.
Okay.
Right? Didn't I? What did I say about the investment?
You don't want your time is better spent on Gap Selling, Gap Training. It's a more unique differentiator. It's really what you do. Recruiting is commodity. You don't want to focus on a commodity solution service.
Don't believe I can compete. Don't believe I can compete. I don't believe the market's growing. Yeah. Yes, all that. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Here's the thought. What about allowing a potential partnership and a partner to do the legwork of the recruiting and actually make you the placements? Your job on your end would be to leverage your brand and your relationships to bring in the leads, so you can increase your revenue through.
Okay, so what you just did is you once again asked me about a solution, right? You put out, what if you could do this? Okay, how do you turn that into questions? Flip that so you could tell me if that's what I should do or not.
How do you feel?
No, okay, no, keep going. How do I feel?
No, man, you're ready to yell.
The reason I stopped is like he might be going somewhere and I jumped and made assumptions. That's not fair. So it might actually turn out to be a good question.
All right, let's do it. How do you feel about partnering with a brand that can do all the legwork for you?
Okay, so there you go again. So I was right. Do you notice the commonality? All you know how to do is talk about future state. All you know how to do is keep asking the customer about what they feel about doing something that hasn't happened, what I call self-diagnosis. So once again, you're doing the same thing. You have to learn how to break it. I don't know how to teach you how to break because I keep pointing it out and you keep doing it, right? So here's what I would ask again. I would say, okay, so I asked all those questions and I told you that I don't think it's a competitive differentiator, et cetera. And then you brought up the idea of all the legwork. So the next question I would ask before I bring up, if I know legwork is where I want to go, the next question I would ask is, hey, Keenan, how much of your team's time is actually spent every day on the recruiting stuff? Okay, so then I would be like almost none.
But I knew that. I wouldn't have asked, right?
But okay, but the question you're asking, you just tried selling me and someone else doing the legwork. You literally just sold me the legwork. And then he said, and all you have to do is use your brand to bring in the clients. That's what we're doing now. Yeah. We're literally using our brand to bring them in now. We don't have a problem with fulfilling them when we get them. We have no problem fulfilling them when we get them at all. When we get the opportunities, we can fulfill them. The deal is I don't want to spend any time or money trying to convince companies to give us a recruiting contract to fill it. I don't want to build a team of salespeople because you have to do that, right? Like I did that once and it didn't go over very well. I don't want to build a team of salespeople and recruiters and people with, what do they call that? Two-sided desk, whatever that fucking thing is. I forget the term is. Where they have to go. What?
Full cycle?
Full cycle, yes. Where the same person goes out, finds them, signs the contract, then goes and hunts it down. Or if half the group of business developers, they go out and find them in another. And we're contingency. I don't want to do that shit. Yeah. I have no desire to make that level investment right now. And where we're sitting right now today, ain't nobody paying a recruiter.
Yeah, fair. This is learning. This is all learning for me, so I appreciate it. We can say I'm not officially trying to sell, but I do want to kind of get my point across because you can show me how to next time better position it. But my thought was, it's not as much work needed because you already have the relationships. It's really just an extra email or an extra connection with the right person within the company to talk about recruiting. If they're working with agencies already, then it's just your job or your team's job to just get that relationship, that connection about recruiting, and then pass it on to your partner firm that does the work. So you're spending very little time and emphasis on it, but making more revenue. Okay. Because you have a partner that works on it.
So how long? So you made tons of assumptions in there, and you lost a little bit of credibility without knowing it. Mm-hmm. This is the sad part. Let me show you lost credibility. How long have you been selling for this company?
4 years.
Okay. Have you ever had to sell recruiting services? Have you actually been on the business development side where you had to get into?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all I do.
Okay. How easy is it for you to make a fucking phone call to the HR department or the recruiting department or whoever and get them to sign a contingency contract?
Relatively easy compared to like a SaaS solution sale. It's
hell no, it's not. Okay, I don't know what world you've been living in, but hell no, it's not.
I've been doing it for 4 years, Keenan.
It's not easy to get. Even my customers, they're like, we're working with someone already, or we're going to try to do this for ourselves for a while. It's not easy. It's not just a phone call. So to your point against selling a SaaS, I'm not comparing it to a SaaS. I asked you how easy is it, period. It's not just one call. It's just
nothing's easy. Yeah, nothing's easy. I agree. Nothing's easy.
So if I'm going to tell me I'm wrong here, Lou. If I'm going to invest in this, and I'm going to have my salesperson, and then the next salesperson I hire, which reminds me, I owe someone a call. You might be watching. Sorry, dog. And my next salesperson, I have a limited amount of time. And if you think that all they have to do is like, we did training with XYZ company. Hey, Tommy, can you put me in touch with your recruiting, with your HR? You guys hiring? Oh, yeah, we're totally hiring. Go call them. And they call me, yeah, we'd love to use you, Keenan, or love to use you guys as sales guy. Great, send over the contract. It doesn't work that way.
You know what? But you're right, because I'm trying to sell you on getting your leads. If it was that easy, I'd get my own. So you are right. But because you have the relationship with the client, because you built rapport, it's a lot easier for you than just a no-name.
But it's not. Correct? It's easy. Yes, it's easier, but it's not easy. And so this is what you're completely missing in a credibility perspective. It still requires funding. It still requires process. It still requires focus, right? And I don't want to spend that time, money, or focus on trying to do that. I don't think it's valuable. And that's where you are tone deaf right now, my man, right? Is you just think that because of my brand, I can just make a call, or one of the people on my team can make a call, and we're going to get a contingency contract dropped in our hand. No, you know what I'll give you this. You know what happens with our brand? They'll take the call. They will take the call. Okay. But then from there, we're already working with recruiters, or can you show us, what are your fees? Can you show us, what type of people do you actually go after, et cetera. And then here's the other part. Then because we're contingency, if we get the contract signed, they're still working with other people. There's no guarantee we're going to get the fucking placement, right? So now I got to wait for all that bullshit.
We would handle that, but yeah. And I'm not trying to sell anymore, by the way. I get it.
What do you mean you'll handle that?
We would handle the recruiting, and our job is to make the placement, make you money, and keep you happy.
I understand that, but it's contingency. They're using other people.
It's the name of the game. That's the industry I'm in. I get it. I know. But and I'm not. By the way, I'm not trying to sell you. I get it. We're just. I'm kind of giving you feedback on my end. I get that there's no interest.
End. Everybody, listen. I get your end, but what you need to learn to do is understand my end. Whether you're sorry.
No, it's okay. Here's what I'm thinking. And listen, I've been doing this for 4 years. I do, and you don't focus on it. And that's not me trying to jab at you, by the way. You got me, man. I do need better selling skills, but that's because selling recruiting services, contingency recruiting, is not that difficult. You don't have to do too much strategy selling because it's contingency. You don't make any money unless you bring in the value. So a lot of companies, believe it or not, will just give, if it's the right timing. If the timing is right, they'll give you the opportunity. Go ahead, give me the right people. Then they realize, oh, this guy knows what the hell he's doing. My thought, and I'm not trying to sell you anymore, but this was my thought, and I do need to better illustrate the way I kind of attack a sale. Is that you guys, it would really just be more multiple emails on your guys' part. Maybe a campaign. Hey, we were focusing more on recruiting. What do you guys got? Because you have the relationship, you're going to get a lot of responses. And those responses are going to turn into an intro email for me. I handle it. Then I handle the sale. I take it over. And my job is to make me and you revenue. So I'm obviously incentivized. And the benefit for me is I don't have to work on getting as many leads, and we share in the revenue. So that's what I meant. That's what I thought about. But it sounds like you're not super into the recruiting. Well, it doesn't sound like it. You aren't. You've explained that. And that's fine. I mean, you make your money on the training. My thought is because you have the relationships, because you're kind of in that industry, because we, Basi Matoni, focus on sales and marketing roles, specifically in different verticals, but tech, a lot of tech. It's just a kind of a nice potential revenue sharing model where, in my opinion, it'd be very minimal work for you guys, more just leveraging relationships and getting me the intros.
I think, yes, but you keep saying this is what you have to get through your head, okay? From your opinion, okay? When you say it's not that much work, how are you defining not that much work? No, I'm asking you that question.
That's a question?
Yeah.
An email campaign. Email campaign to your relationships, to the right people who are going to respond to you.
How many? How many?
How many campaigns or how many emails?
How many emails?
It depends. Listen, you could have 5, and things are different now, but let's assume things were going smoothly.
No. I have to. You're asking me to buy now, right? If I'm buying now. So how many do you think?
Well, this was more of a potential long-term partnership. Things are there's no recruiting needs now.
Trying to get me to buy now. People don't get this. Salespeople fucking kill me.
Keenan, I warned you in the beginning. I warned
right?
you in the beginning.
Long-term relationship. So I'm staying on point.
Okay, fair.
How many emails do you think I would have to write?
Okay, I'm going to assume, and I can't assume, but if you have 3 or 4 great clients you're working with currently, 3 or 4 good quality clients, you write 3 or 4 emails. You're going to get 3 or 4 responses.
Okay, now this is what I want you to do. Okay? And if you can't get this now, I'm going to talk to you about fucking baseball or Patriots all day long, but I'm done helping you. Okay? I'm done helping you. What you just said, flip that into a question. So we used it, if you have blah, 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 flip that into a question. Go.
What do you think of leveraging some of your current client base in a low minimum effort to intro them to a potential partner to bring in you additional revenue on the recruiting side?
Don't think it's a good idea.
Why?
Okay, so that was it wasn't enough of a question to throw you to the dogs, but so that's why I'm still with you. I can answer why, but I want you to do it differently. Ask a specific targeted question that will get you the answer why without you having to ask why. Try one more time.
What do you think about leveraging your current?
No. Look, this is what you said, okay? And I'm not going to really throw you dogs because at least you moved this much. You first told me, hey, the original question was, look, if you have 3 or 4 really good clients, you could build an email and send it to them and blah, blah, blah. Did you not?
Yes.
This is what you did. Everybody pay attention. Here's a lesson. If you have, motherfucker, switch it to a fucking current state question and say, Keenan, do you currently have 3 or 4 really, really good clients who are still fucking recruiting? Come on, Lou. And I'm yelling at you.
Keenan. Jeez, you're like a drill sergeant, bro.
Yes, I am, because I gave you 100 chances, right? You are so locked in a way of thinking that I gotta break it somehow. And this is out of love. I didn't give a fuck. I'd be okay, you're right.
Dude, you know what would have solved this? If I would have read your damn book.
Yeah.
It would have been that simple. If I would have read that damn book instead of skimmed, I would have realized how to frame a question.
Thank you. Do
It's
you
really
see what
just
I'm doing now?
My framing is so incorrect.
Rather than if you have, fuck if you have. Let's flip it. Do you have? Do you have? Not if you. Do you? Do you have 3 or 4 clients that are really, really close to you that you would that are still currently recruiting? No, I do not. Then you could say, how many of your existing base do you think is still recruiting? To be perfectly frank with you, I really don't know. I'm not putting enough effort into that right now. So I don't know. Then you might want to push back and say, do you feel this value and maybe considering that? No, I don't. Why not? Then you get all the answers about the online stuff. And then if you're really good, you'd get me to go on a fucking diatribe about how, look, I just don't think recruiting is a long-lasting business. I don't know why. I don't even know why I'm hanging on to it. It brings me only 10% of my business. I don't see it here in the long run. And because it's contingency, I don't even want to spend the money, because even if I get them to sign the contract, if we don't win the deal, I got faith in our current recruiter base, people that do it. I don't like it anymore. And eventually I can see it's getting out. Or I can see a long-term strategy where I go buy a large existing one and drop it in. Right? But no, trying to build this fucking thing from scratch is not what I'm interested in. And you could have got out of this call with, okay, it's probably not a good fit. Half hour ago, and you would have looked like a king. You would have been like, hey, Keenan, you know what? I don't think I can help you, but I appreciate you taking the time. And we could have talked about football, and everybody who sat on this would have watched how you did that, and then I would have held you up as a trophy, as like, guys, this is how you handle discovery when you learn that you can't help them.
Yeah.
You were stupid.
No, it's okay. Sorry. I can't help but disagree that I could make you more money, but I didn't do a good job selling. I agree. I'm not trying to flip this. You're right, man. I need work on this. I didn't think I'd get yelled at this much. I thought there'd be some compliments.
Yeah.
You gave me none.
So here, I'll give you this though. You just said you still believe you could make me some money, right?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Here, I don't think you're wrong. Here's what you're missing, and I said it 3 times at least. You cannot convince me you could make me more money than I'm going to make by focusing and investing on the other side of my business.
And that's my fault. That's my fault for not illustrating the ease of leveraging some of your brand to bring me leads. I'm not illustrating it.
Yeah,
well.
but see, you can't illustrate that. That's my world. You could never tell me that. You could only get me to see it. And
Keenan,
have right.
Keenan, when you're selling training, right? You have to sell. This is a question. You have to sell the value of the teams, the sales teams at these companies, learning from what you're providing in a way that's going to benefit the business in the long run. You have to sell that value for them to pay you, right? They got to pay you, right?
Yeah.
They got to spend money. You're not spending a minute of your time without making money. You're not doing maybe some kind of 1 hour session or something. Not with the training, but I'm talking about real live training. You won't spend a minute for free. In recruiting, because of the contingency aspect, they'll throw Rex at the wolves. We're all wolves, right? And I'm just hungrier than a lot of others. And and this is not me trying to sell anymore, by the way. I'm just. No, but you beat me already.
What you're trying to sell is your position. You're still selling, and it's fine. You're selling your position. Yeah. The reason I'm hanging in there this much longer because I want you to be successful, and you're not hearing me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. You could make me more money. But could you make me more money for the amount of time and money invested? And I think where we're completely disagreeing and where I think you're losing credibility is you believe it's a lot easier than I do to get my existing client base to give me recruiting opportunities. Okay.
Yeah, we may have to agree to disagree, and you may be right because this is what you sell training all day. You know what type of sentiment you get from your clients.
Exactly. And I told you. Here's another one. I told you that I invested in this earlier, and I had salespeople, and it didn't go well.
It's a sucky business, man. You got to have the right people. It's a sucky business. It will eat you alive. Come on, Keenan.
Just a second ago, you told me how easy it is, and all I've got to do is go up to my existing clients and
Dude, it's easy for me. Dude, it's easy for me. But it's a hard business in general. It's a tough business that'll eat you alive in general.
Business model, Lou, was you'll do the recruiting piece, I'll do the business development. Correct. I'm telling you, I don't trust the business development side of it. It's not as easy, and what it would take to make it a larger profitable business is not where I'm willing to spend my money. You keep telling me that my side is easy, but then you say, but I'm not doing your side. Lou, this is the last time I'm going to say this. When you're selling, your perception doesn't fucking matter. I don't know how to tell you this again. And I'm sure you've been successful and you'll keep being successful. And I like you as a person. That's why I'm hanging in here with you.
Thank you.
I think you're cool as shit, but you're not hearing me. That's why I'm a drill sergeant right now. You are not hearing me. And I learned this ages ago. The buyer's perception is reality. And if the buyer believes it's harder, it's your job to change their perception. And you cannot change their perception by telling them something that has to do with your perception. You have to get into their shoes and start breaking down and tearing down their entire perception and start building up a new one. And so the only way you can do that is own and have empathy for where they are and dig in. So wait, Keenan, why do you feel this takes so much longer? Right? How much time are you spending today trying to get buyers to go with you? I would have said, well, not as much today, but several years ago, I invested in business development people, this. We bought a whole applicant tracking system. We did this. This is how we did it. We had tremendous success. I'm sorry?
Is that true?
Yes, it's true. See, you don't know because you did shitty-ass discovery. So then I would have explained what happened. I would have told you that we had phenomenal successes getting in, but then we lost deals for all the dumbest reason on the fucking planet. We'd have people right up to we're going to make them an offer, and then the 11th hour they decided to put it on hold, all kinds of bullshit. And I got tired of it. The amount of money.
Name of the game, yeah. It's the name of the game.
And I told you, I don't want to be in this game anymore.
Fair.
Right? And then you could have asked them like, well, how much is your average placement? How much is your average virtual training? How much time do you have to spend to get virtual training versus how much time do you have to get a placement? I can get a virtual training. All I got to do is go on fucking LinkedIn 3 or 4 times a day, say this, put some ad dollars in, boom, and we get 300, 400, 500 people to show up for virtual training. I don't get that kind of return over here on recruiting. It's just not worth it for me in my business.
It's not your core competency.
And that's who you're selling to. So everything you believe in might be perfect for the next guy you talk to, but there's just no way you're going to convince me to start spending more resources of time and money in recruiting when I'm launching a brand new LMS that I've invested over 6 figures. Again, this is the type of shit I got to get you to be thinking about. I literally just invested over 6 figures in a brand new LMS to drive people to an online learning system. And you think I want to turn my back and start putting more money in recruiting, more effort and time?
I mean, you already said it, I did a piss poor job really presenting this. The upfront cost, not just on time, but even on money compared to the potential revenue additional revenue generated, it's like 1 to 5, 1 to 7. But it's my fault for not presenting it properly, not illustrating it. I appreciate the learning lesson, man. I know you got more people to talk to, and I don't mean to take up everyone's time.
No, this is good.
But I really appreciate it. This is good for me because I said that I told you the sale is easy, right? What I meant is that there's such a need for recruiting help from third party recruiters from companies. They need us, right? They wouldn't use us if they didn't have to, because we can be so pricey, right? 20%, 25% of us Canada's salary, sometimes higher. There's such a need that it's about me just getting in front of them at the right time. And if that need is there, then they'll say, sure, yeah, we'll work with you. Yeah, I mean, it's on contingency, right? Sure, yeah. And if you're really good and you built up a brand and a name, you could sell on a retainer basis and make money up front, et cetera. And I'm sure you know all about that. But that's what I meant by easy. I mean, I get rejected all day long, right? I'm cold calling and I'm doing my biz dev and I get rejected. Don't get me wrong. And especially now in this climate, I'm getting rejected nonstop. But the ease is that to get into the door and get kind of some type of interest is not too difficult, because when there's a tough role they have to fill, they need to use agencies, and they will. And even if they have 1 or 2, sometimes they'll utilize more. So that was my thought, but I guess it was very hard for me to illustrate that. And you've done it before, and you feel the pain point.
But you keep saying it was difficult for me to illustrate that.
I guess I'm a bit. Maybe my head's clouded. I'm not gonna lie. I think that I could have positioned this in a way that you would really see the benefit. And I think if it were ever to happen, I make you a few bucks, man. Your whole mind's gonna change, right? That's what I think. But it's my fault. And then also you don't focus on recruiting. So you can't see that. It's hard for you to see it, and it's my job to paint that picture. And I've been a horrible Picasso.
How would you paint that picture?
The way I was trying to paint it was your effort is you already have the relationships, and you already sell to them your main core product. You're selling already. So it's like Oracle upselling their other solutions. It's like Salesforce when they buy MuleSoft and all those other solutions. Now the salespeople have different tools they can sell to different enterprises and businesses. So you offer the train.
Whoa. Yes, but it's not an upsell. This is 90% of the time
cross-sell,
buyer in a different division. That means now I have to invest in my salespeople, spending that time in those divisions.
So here, and I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but here, this is the thing. If the company are using agencies or have a need for agencies, it's a simple email intro. If they need it, it'll go. If they don't, then there's no money. If they don't, then the email.
So this is it, and then we got a jet, because you are just in. I can't help you on this. Your if is the death of you here, right? If it's not, I don't work in the world of ifs, right? I look at the big picture. And yes, it is if that's what they're looking for. When I look at all my customers, all the times we've reached out to buyers, all the time we've closed deals from a recruiting perspective, that if sometimes is easy, but when you spread it out in the micro, it can be easy once in a while. But when you look at it from a macro perspective, it's never that easy. Never that easy. Literally never that easy. And so understanding that to make this a line of business that is worthy of delivering and adding a decent amount takes an investment. I have learned that from running businesses. And it's an investment I'm not willing to make right now because I don't think the return is there based on where we are in the market, based on what's happening with the economy, based on who my competition is. Sort of go back to the old days of GE, right? And what's his name? Jack Welch, right? If you can't be 1 or 2 in your fucking space, and why are you trying to do it? I'm nowhere close to 1 or 2 in my space, but I believe we can be. I believe our product and what Gap Selling is doing is 1 or 2 in the space. So that's where I'm spending my time. Fucking recruiting is a dime a dozen commodity space. Everybody's treated that way. And so, like I said, I don't think it's a smart business decision to invest the amount of time and money to make it worthwhile to be an equal part of the rest of the business. I believe my return on my invested dollars would be far greater I spent on the consulting side. And because of differentiation, because of the overall dollars, the time to cash, all of that. Now, if you really wanted to push it, you could have challenged me on that notion. You could have asked questions like, how much is the average deal size in a training? How much time and resource does it take to sell a training? What's the overall size of a training? What's this? What's that? Then you yourself could have looked at this and said, Keenan, no shit, I wouldn't spend a dime on recruiting either. You're sitting on a gold mine. Or you'd be like, Keenan, I think you're missing something. You just said the average deal size for your virtual training is, I'm making up a number, $75,000, and it takes you, and you've got a cost of sales of $60,000. So your net profit's only 15, and it takes you 4 months to get it done. On the recruiting side, our average deal size is $80,000. The cost of sales only $10,000, only takes a month. And you could have challenged me on business foundations. And then you could have looked at me and said, I'm confused why you think this is more valuable. Am I missing something? That's how.
But you know what? You're right. You're right, man. Even an extra minute, right? Even if I'm looking at it as an extra few minutes, even an extra few minutes of your time that's not focused on your core competency is a potential waste. And that's how you're looking at it, I presume.
Yep.
That's how you're looking at it. And that makes sense because if somebody tries to sell me something that I don't focus on, so even if they're arguing that it's an extra 5 minutes, it's like, dude, I'll spend that 5 minutes on what I focus on.
So if you were going to get me to change, everybody pay attention. This is the longest one I've done yet.
But remember, just the reason why I even wanted to try to sell and keep pushing is because you have recruiting on your website.
And I told you
get that money, Keenan.
Okay.
I get it. Come on, bro. I get it, man. I get it. I'm not selling you anymore.
This is how you would have done. This is how you would have been able to do this. If you wanted to get me to see that I was missing an opportunity, you would have had to ask questions that broke down my current environment, how much money I'm driving out of the training side, how that money is created, the return or profitability or spread on that type of money, how much it takes me to get it, how long it takes me to get it, what I believe the upside is, who my competition is, how we fare against the competition, and then should have been able to take that and then ask that about recruiting and you and yourself based on my desired outcome. Keenan, you want to grow your company to what? 50 million by when? Okay. And you would have been able to had to show me how recruiting was going to get me to that 50 million. Watch what I do here. Faster and more economically than the Gap Selling training, the online training, the virtual training, and the consulting. And you would have been able to make that case using my data. You didn't get anywhere close enough to my data to make my point for me. That's what Gap Selling is all about. When I get to someone who says no, and they're like, Keenan, we don't like this, we don't like that, I can say, wait, I'm confused. You told me that your salespeople only have a 12% fucking conversion rate. You told me that you've run out of all the low-hanging fruit. You told me that your average deal size is falling. I'm confused how you think you're going to get to this goal at this path, doing it this way. And then they have to sit back and be, okay, that's a good point. Not me keep telling them, well, I think there's more opportunity here. I just think our training does all this great stuff. And our training can make you the paper. We can make you the paper. And they're not listening to me saying that.
What douche does that? What douche does that?
Me. That's me doing that, right? So you see my point? Like, I can't tell them what I think. I got to get them to see their world using their data and be like, oh, shit, Lou, you're right. I am not focused on the right thing. And I was unaware, I hadn't really processed that although I'm making more money in the training, it's less profitable and takes me more time and blah, blah, blah. You're right. Let's talk some more. Help me understand. but you couldn't do that because you just kept talking about the future state.
Yeah. I knew that I needed work. I didn't think I was going to need this much, but I appreciate it, Keenan, for sure. You're the man. Just curious, though, if I would have approached it properly, do you think it's something you would have considered? I'm just curious.
Not now. You might have been able to get me to spend a little more time listening before all this went down, because I hate losing and I'm sort of stubborn, and I hate this idea that this recruiting site hasn't blown up like it should be, but I'm also I got to realize why it hasn't and pay more attention. But no, probably not.
Yeah. But I have tunnel vision. All I think about is the recruiting industry. So I just think, why not? But that's not your core competency. And I didn't ask the right questions. And I didn't really talk enough about like how to position like revenue based on what your models are, what your forecasts are.
No. This is what you didn't do. Stop saying you didn't talk enough about. You talked too much. You didn't ask the right questions. You didn't understand where to take the conversation. You didn't understand or were unable to get me to share or dissect my business.
Agreed.
That's what you did. You forget about talking, telling, sharing, convincing. Sales is not about that. Okay?
Fair. No, thank you, man. Thank you. I could take all these gems all day. I really appreciate it, Keenan.
I got
you. Good, man. You ripped me a new one. And I know I need to work on my solution selling. I suck at it. So I appreciate it.
It's not solution selling. Go to my blog and you'll know why it's not solution selling. Everybody is still, yes, it's Gap Selling. Explain why. It's Gap Selling. Read the book. All right, everybody else, listen up. Thank you, baby. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
You got it. I got you. So I'm going to let you jet out of here if I can figure out how to do this.
Sure. Do I just leave the broadcast? Is cool.
Yeah, you can jet. Thank you very much, man.
Thanks, Keenan.
You got. All right, everybody else that's still listening. Okay, listen up. Number one, we are doing another Gap Selling training, May 5th and 6th. So go to my page. You'll see the link to it. If you haven't taken it. Also, don't be like that guy. That was painful. Lou, I love Lou. Lou, look, I give you credit. I should have said this before you got up, for hanging in there and taking that pounding. But it's all out of love. It's all out of love. All right, so everybody, thank you for paying attention and tuning in to Gap Sell Keenan. Guys, let's get some more people on this. I think, as you can see, more and more salespeople need this. So share. Share this with people. Tell people about this. Let's increase the exposure, and let's change the way we sell, because clearly after 21 of these, the sales world needs the help. Okay? So, you know what it is? Gap Sell Keenan, where a real live salesperson sells me. And if they can find a problem that I have, I'll buy it. But if they screw it up, they have to face the wrath and get critiqued in front of the world. All right, everybody. Thanks a bunch for hanging out. Thanks for showing up. I love y'all. You know what I'm going to say. Until next time. Peace. I'm out.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something.